Welcome to today's episode of the Cross Labs podcast, On My Mind.
Okay, now that we're absolutely sidestepping on this conversation, so you know that the Actors Guild and the Writers Guild, they're going on strike because of, actually I think it's valid reasons, like because studios are planning on using a bunch of AI for generating content, and they're saying like, we want better conditions or we're not on board with any of that. But their bargain chip was to just stop working, and studios, of course, want to keep producing. So if they were thinking on accelerating their process and there is no one to work, wouldn't it make sense for them just to double down even harder on AI produced content? Like, isn't that absolutely counterproductive for the actors and writers to just stop working if that is the thing that they are going to be replaced for?
It's a bet that the quality of the AI stuff will never get to the level of the professional writer, and that if the studios put out the purely AI-written stuff, people will actually notice that it's bad and they'll lose money.
And mass movements can often be counterproductive, and even if it seems like it will be so beforehand, it can still happen. Winning people over to your cause by harming large numbers of people, for example, could galvanize your base, or it could turn everyone against you.
Just stop oil, for example.
That whole class of thing. It could be working for some subset of people, and it could really not be working for another large set of people.
I got an EV because I want to be environmentally friendly and whatnot. But just because of that group, I want to buy a liter of gasoline and set it on fire and watch it burn.
If you're going to do that, could you do it on the anthill next to my house so at least something gets usefully done?
Just buy a plane ticket literally anywhere.
Buy a plane ticket to come here and pour a liter of gasoline on the anthill and burn the anthill. As far as strikes, I'm very in favor of people's ability to strike, and I'm also very in favor of the people that they are striking against to cut the Gordian knot if they can cut the Gordian knot and just replace those people. There's not one side or the other that is inherently the one that I should be cheering for, but it's a negotiation tactic, and if there actually is something being undervalued but because it's being pushed down by one aggregation of power, then using another kind of aggregation of power to properly negotiate for it makes sense. But if it turns out that actually all the writers are now obsolete and they strike and the studios say we're just using GPT and it's good, it's not great for the writers, but that to me feels much more natural. I don't think it will be good enough. I do think people will complain, and the thing to worry about is we're passing on the strike to the consumers. Now there is just no good writing available, but you guys are still going to be bored and you're still going to pay us to make crappy media. The secret was you would have consumed whatever we made, and if we were just being generous in giving you good stuff, then that's maybe the dystopian outcome.
That's exactly what I was thinking. They shooting themselves on the foot. My background is from film, before I started doing, I don't know what I do here, but I remember any good movie, if it costs $200 million, 150 are just advertisement. You don't pay the ticket because the movie is good. You pay the ticket because there was buzz around it. That's it. You don't know where you're going to see it before you see it. So advertisement is still going to be there, and AI powered is even more effective. So I would say, ooh, that's a massive gamble. I don't know if I would have done that if I was them.
I think one of the things that makes it maybe more understandable is that it's not just that the writers were going to be replaced, it's that the nature of the writer's job was going to be redefined into a much more miserable job for less pay. So at a certain point, it's I may not be able to force them to not do what they're going to do, but I just don't want to be there anymore, right? If your job becomes editing GPT and you get paid half, you might be well, you know what? If they do this, I'm going to quit anyway, so I might as well go on strike. I think we're also going to get something like a no GMO or organic food kind of movement. I'm already seeing this in tabletop RPG circles where people are sort of I don't care how good it is. If it's AI generated, I don't want it. And organic food or no GMO stuff, I don't think that view is going to become necessarily mainstream in the sense that everyone will do it, but that probably will carve out a space.
Well, tyranny of the minority is often good enough to get that kind of label generated. So perfectly reasonable to see that happen.
Yeah, I guess what I mean is that there will be the same way that organic food sells for 50% more. There probably will be some kind of economic opportunity centered around the being able to take a particular principled stance about it. That's not going to be enough to support everyone who might be quitting over the AI-generated writing and the transition to editorial positions.
So the thing is, that already exists, at least in film industry. The ones that consider themselves real artists, they work independent and independent studios and whatnot. So, where else are they gonna go? the independent studio from the independent industry. Like there is nowhere else. So
But it's kind of funny because like the independent studios were the ones who were first doing like, we're going to do this film written by an AI and we'll act it out as if we're very serious about following these nonsense, script lines.
And now they're the saviors. But I actually think that it is what you were saying at the beginning. It's like, might as well strike as whatever.
If you're going to quit anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
The quality of the image generation stuff has surpassed a lot of human artists as far as like my aesthetics are concerned, and the quality of the text generation has not surpassed human writers. I would much rather have something with, human writers but completely synthetic animation. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I can sympathize with, like, if I want like an emotional beat to sympathize with the strikes and everything, I can think back to the anecdote about Ian McKellen filming The Hobbit and just reading his lines at a green table with a green screen and then just kind of breaking down into tears and saying, this is not why I started acting. Like, I get that same sentiment extending to the writers and to people's likenesses being used and all of that kind of thing. I understand that feeling, but also I'm just going to watch the things that I enjoy, however they're produced.
Well, I mean, yes, but then there is some stuff that I'm like, oh, wow, but that's not right. So, for example, you know that if, I don't know, the casting of Friends, they're still getting paychecks every month because they're running that thing in South America, and it's literally the most viewed show for Warner in South America is still Friends, and they get paid for
it's
that,
also
right?
the best way to learn English. It's the best way to learn
There you
English
go.
from what I can tell.
It's that and 2.5 Men. Anyway, so, but then with this AI stuff, the deal is for background actors to get like a 3D scan of their body, get paid for 1 day of work while they do the 3D scan, and forfeit the rights to get any payment afterwards, and then they'll be used forever. So I'm like, oh, wow, but then that is not okay.
I actually have no problem with that as long as it's not compelled, right? Like as long as it's like, okay, this is the deal. If you are willing to get paid for this one-off, you agree to do it, then for me at least, there is not an obligation to keep an activity that we would like to be doing or that we enjoy doing economically sustainable as a way of life. That's one of those things that, like, locally speaking, that looks like it's going to make things better, but creates a lot of the mess. So, it's of course better if we all essentially had a guarantee of the things that we needed to live. And so then we could just do what we want to do because we want to do it and not because we need it to survive, which is not where we are yet. Fair enough.
That's it for this week's episode of the Cross Labs podcast, On My Mind. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you'll be the first to know when the next episode is out. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.